First, want to get your thoughts on Elon Musk. He actually had a lot of comments to say about Bitcoin, saying that Dogecoin actually has an advantage over Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. He sees actually Dogecoin as the best cryptocurrency to transact with, so much so that he's now making it possible to buy Tesla with Dogecoin. And we saw what that did to the price of Dogecoin. So what are your thoughts on what many would say throwing some shade to Bitcoin here?
I think it's definitely interesting to see those comments. I think everybody has their own personal interests, invested interests in different crypto assets, and I think we've definitely seen that with Elon in the past in terms of how he's a big supporter of Dogecoin. I don't think it's new to see public figures taking a big position behind certain coins, so not necessarily surprised to see that. I think from a personal standpoint, I think Bitcoin does still stand as the most established asset in the space, a store of value, and then you're seeing it still get adopted in countries as legal tender. And so I think that does really make the case for it as a payment system, like in El Salvador and elsewhere.
And that's a really good point. Everyone has a vested interest or their own agenda. So to that point, do you think there should be some regulation surrounding, very public figures like Elon Musk talking about certain cryptos? Should it be fair game? Is it okay to do so? Because we see he drops Dogecoin and we see what it does to the price.
I think there should be. And if we go back to 2017 during the ICO craze, you'll definitely see there were a number of public figures who were promoting certain coins that were probably even less known than a Dogecoin at this point, which most people that are in the crypto space or even just outside of the space are aware of Dogecoin, just because of how much price movement that there's been this year and how much people like Elon have been speaking about it publicly. So I think there has been SEC crackdowns on that type of communication, and I think it's important because the markets are still pretty new and they are easily manipulated. And now is more than ever, social media is so tied in with financial markets, whether that's crypto or the traditional stock market, like we've seen with GameStop and AMC, et cetera. So I do think that there should be some oversight and regulation of that, because we see what happens with just a tweet.
Exactly. As great as he thinks cryptocurrencies are and how fascinated he is by the space, he actually doesn't think cryptocurrencies will overtake fiat currency one day. Were you surprised that he said that?
I was. It's an interesting comment. I think there's definitely arguments both ways. I think obviously the main advantage of something like Bitcoin is that you have a limited supply and it's not subject to continuous dilution, which you would have with sovereign currencies, and that is what leads into inflation and why people see Bitcoin as such a valuable asset and a store of value, and really as a hedge against inflation. So I think, I do see that there's space for both approaches going forward. I think that, maybe that's sort of what he's getting at, is to say this isn't something that's going to go from 0 to 1 where we don't have traditional currencies anymore. Probably some sort of a hybrid system where there are so many different currencies and nations across the world, and everybody has different priorities. So I think that's probably more where he's going with that comment.
Let's talk the DeFi space. Why do we need DeFi?
Mm-hmm. Why does DeFi matter? I think that's the best place to start. And we, especially people that are in the crypto and the DeFi space, usually start so many layers beyond that, and it's really it becomes difficult to understand what people are talking about, basically, if you don't have that exposure. So basically what DeFi is it's a new financial system, and it presents an opportunity for a faster, cheaper, and easier way to do finance. So if you take a step back, when you are in the current financial system, there are intermediaries and centralized institutions that are really the gatekeepers for products that you can access, whether that's a savings account or investment products or credit products. And what DeFi does through the utilization of smart contracts is it offers these same types of products, but in a decentralized way. So there isn't one authority or gatekeeper that is getting to choose who gets to play and who doesn't. So that's a really important starting point because because that underlies all of the passion that's behind this and why there is such great adoption, not just in North America, but in a lot of developing countries, because there are people that don't have that equal access to finance, and so the playing field really is not level. And this is getting so much adoption and excitement and interest because, hey, now there's this technology that really can provide equal access to people.
Right. So it basically allows it to become, universally a benefit for all.
Exactly. So it's banking for those that don't have a bank account. It's credit for those who can't get a credit score, et cetera.
Is it correct to say there's no real infrastructure in compliance in DeFi right now? And is that where WonderFi fits in?
There is compliance that's being built in the space, and that's definitely something that we're focused on as well. It's nascent. The technology is very new, and there's a lot of experimentation going on. But there also are a lot of protocols and functions within DeFi that have millions and millions and millions of dollars of transaction volume going through them, and that are getting that that testing and auditing done. And so as we start to see them mature, which has happened a lot over the last year, there are compliance infrastructures coming into place, and it's making it more accessible and really digestible for your average person. Because what we've seen to date is it's really the people you described in their basements, sort of crypto traders and experts that have been in the space for a long time that have been using this technology. And I think what we're seeing in terms of an opportunity is to sort of simplify and cover off compliance to make it so your average person can access this.
Talk to me about Ethereum. Let's help educate the folks at home. When we talk DeFi, it goes hand in hand with Ethereum. Why not Bitcoin? Is it because of the DNA of Ethereum?
Yeah, it's because of the DNA. Ethereum's the basis of Ethereum is smart contracts, which can be used for a bunch of different things. So that's basically just to simplify it, it's think of a legal contract, but in code. And so you can set certain parameters. And then once that smart contract's deployed, those pieces of the code become law. And so you can create financial products on there, or you can create a whole host of different things. But Ethereum has become the home for DeFi and financial products, and that's become the biggest application on Ethereum.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information, and it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
Got it. Now, I just want to say, when we started 2021, basically there was so much buzz around DeFi. And of course, we've seen the folks like obviously Kevin O'Leary, Mark Cuban, all embracing, talking DeFi. But from my sources, we're in a winter phase of DeFi now. Now, is that just a seasonal, natural period for DeFi? Because basically, as of December 12th, the aggregate value locked in DeFi slipped to 85 billion. So what's going on here?
Yeah, I think if we look back to the growth of DeFi from the start of the year, we started at around 25 billion. And you're right, the peak of this year was around 110 billion, and now we've dropped significantly down from there. I think we're hovering around sort of 95, 96, but still significant growth over the year. And there's naturally going to be these pullbacks, which just is true of any market, really. But I think the takeaway is I wouldn't say we're necessarily in a winter. I think we're still in the really early stages of DeFi, and that comes back to who's using it. And it's still such an early technology, and we still only have a fraction of the population that's really accessing it. So I think the growth potential, the way to look at it, I would say, is, so if we have a $100 billion market right now, you look at the global financial market, which really is the largest industry in the world, and this technology has the ability to disrupt that. So the growth potential is very significant.
What are ways to expose yourself to the space as an investor, and what are key things to think about before you park your money there?
Right. So I would say, especially for people that are new into the crypto and the DeFi space right now, there is a lot of hype and there's a lot of new assets and there's a lot of people talking about different coins, et cetera. And so the lessons that are learned for those of us that went through the last cycle from 2016 to 2018 is that, and maybe this is just a personal lesson for me, but the lesson is focus on what has value and what makes sense to you. Because there's going to be people promoting different assets, promoting different technology, and at the end of the day, there's only so much. There's only so much that actually sort of carries that value. And so, in the last cycle, it really was Bitcoin, which is digital gold, and Ethereum, which is programmable smart contracts, that really came out of that cycle. And so now we're seeing definitely an evolution where there's borrowing and lending protocols that people are doing decentralized lending on. We're seeing decentralized exchanges, so people being able to trade their assets through these decentralized protocols, and some real value there. And so I would definitely, for people that are getting into the space, I would definitely say don't buy into the hype. Definitely do your research and just focus on what makes sense to you and where you sort of see the value and growth, because I think it's just really easy to get caught up in all of the hype.
Really well said.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.